welcome to Chromatic Roses, a podcast where a couple of Midwest women cultivate a community at the D&D table. I'm Soren.
And I'm Caitie, and this week in the Rose Garden, we're vibin and thrivin for the fourth time.
Number 4.
You'll recall, and it's fresh in our minds because it just published, but you'll recall that this is much akin to a short rest for our brains. Because sometimes talking about D&D a lot is hard. So
I just was trying to combine the phrase like short rest and vibe and thrive, and I was like, how can we make that like the new title or whatever? But I was like, a short rest, vibe, and it's not working. But that is what it is. And we are short resting. And if you can't tell,
short vibes, resting thrives. So, all right. So we're going to start with our vibes and we'll ping pong back and forth as usual. Okay. My first vibe is Hades. I've been back at it.
You're going to have to clarify.
The game.
Got it.
Hades. Because Hades 2 is coming out pretty soon.
Yeah.
And I was starting to watch that, and I was like, I'm gonna frickin' beat this game. Here I go. And I'm not far off.
Really?
I'm not far off. I've gotten to the second round of Hades' final battle, and then I die.
As is the way in these tales.
A little bit of a luck thing, right? Because you have to get the right set of boons.
Sure.
To like, you know,
optimize and like actually be worth a hit.
Right. So it's just, you gotta grind a little bit to get to that place and get the right luck of the draw. But when I get there, I almost nail it. Almost. Yes, Soren?
Question for you.
Yeah.
What is it about games like Hades, and maybe there's a similar component in Inscription, what like brings you back, or what motivates you in that game? Like, is it all internal? Like, is it puzzly? Is it?
It's not puzzling.
Okay.
It's not. No, it's not.
I've just always been interested, and I think I've asked you about Inscription before, but like, why is it that you enjoy those games so much?
Well, the fact that it's a little bit of a luck factor is helpful as a scapegoat.
Like, it's not because I'm bad.
I just didn't have the right pull.
Just didn't have the right boon.
Yeah. There's a little bit of that. Both Inscription and Hades are roguelikes that you like the story is built into your failure. So you get more story the more you fail.
Sure.
And that is also helpful to me, because the thing is, in any video game, right, I am going to be defeated a lot. And in this game, your failure is rewarded by plot.
More story, more plot. Yeah. Okay. It's like, do you feel like it takes a little bit of the pressure off of like failing?
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm supposed to.
Yeah, that's part of it.
I get story. Yeah, and in both, well,
hold on.
Depends on how you
let her.
There are plenty of people who bring a certain level of skill into both of those games. But for me, it is simple enough. I don't have to be extra good gamer to be able to do it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's somewhat approachable, and that's going to be true differently for different people. There are people who are good at Hades and Inscription who can do it quickly and like whatever. But I'm thinking like in contrast to like a platformer where I can't even get past a level without being able to be skilled at this particular move or set of moves. With this, especially with Hades, I can kind of just mash some buttons and be okay.
Yeah.
Now I've gotten good enough that I know what buttons I'm mashing and can do them in an intelligent way, but the main mechanics are hit button, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why.
Well, there's something to be said. I'm glad I know that now, and that all makes sense. And I like it takes a little bit of pressure off of like, you'll inevitably fail. So do it and have fun, period. Right. But that idea of, I lost it, of button mashing and not having quote unquote like gamer skill. It's like we watch how many YouTubers do we watch or streamers do we watch, and they're just like super good at the game, and that's just intimidating. Yeah. And so then it's like, okay, cool. Well, like, I just want to enjoy something. Yeah. So I love that, and I just wanted to know a little bit more.
Yeah. It's good fun time, and there are definitely some times when it still is frustrating to the point where I'm just like, well, I'm done for now. I'm done
for the day.
But for the most part, it's relatively approachable, and I can just kind of casually play it and get through it and die and then try again.
I think that's great.
Yeah. Your first vibe.
My first vibe. We are recording this episode in May, and I am currently on my first rewatch of my first vibe, which is thrivin Beyond Journey's End. If anybody watches anime, it's a great anime. I've really wanted to read the manga for a while, but I just haven't. And yeah, I love the show. It's incredible. I think it's written very well. I think the character designs are fun. Something I guess I should back up just a smidge for anyone who is not familiar with thrivin. It is a story that follows an adventurer who happens to be an elf. So very long lifespan, but it follows an adventurer after she has completed a 10-year mission with another party. And so it's kind of watching her either say goodbye to some of those party members when they pass away, or like getting used to what life is like not with them, and kind of her struggle between, I'm going to be living for a very long time because elf, and like humans are still worth connecting with. So it's very good. The storytelling's great. I love the music. Highly recommend the soundtrack on Spotify if you get a chance to listen to it. And I had another thought to add to it. That's what it was. I was telling TJ the other day, something I really love about this show is that we have this very, I won't call thrivin the character quiet, but we have this very like toned down, like chill, even keeled character who is our protagonist. And I know there are plenty of other animes that do, but I feel so often we see like the Narutos, the Sailor Moons, the very One Piece type, like explosive, excited, super quote unquote charismatic frontrunners for shows. And I just enjoy this little bit of a deviation from that. And thrivin's a very cool character. So that is major vibe for me right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like that show also.
Yeah.
My next vibe my next vibe is I can put my windows down now because it's warm out.
I'm vibing with the windows being open.
It's at this point in Nebraska weather where our house windows are down 24/7 pretty much.
And by down you mean open?
Yeah.
Most people when they down it's closed.
Windows up. Yeah, you're right. Windows open. So we might have to turn it like the air on in the late afternoon just because like the house has collected heat. But most of the time windows are down. Windows are open. At night, windows are open. And then in the car, windows also open. It's the carefree, breezy time of year. My allergies suck.
I was going to say, however.
I suffer for the sake of fresh air. And it's great.
It's so great.
I just have to consistently take an allergy pill every day.
I really do enjoy this time of year, though, and the only thing that is slightly unfortunate, or like I guess it's just perpetually frustrating growing up in Nebraska, is the how long is it gonna last? Yeah. Like, how long am I gonna get it before the heat decides to choke us?
And it's also like this back and forth. I was thinking about this this weekend. It goes back and forth between being like that beautiful, perfect, like 73.
Which is like my favorite temperature.
And period. Like 65. Yeah. Which is like a little too cold.
I love 65.
But like to like sit outside or something
you
like that.
You need
like
a little bit more of a jacket.
Because what I really want is to not have to wear extra clothing and sit outside and be comfortable. I don't want to be too hot or too cold. And 65 is like just the threshold where you kind of need a jacket. And if you're going to be outside for an extended period of time and if the wind is blowing, it's going to be cold.
I really want everyone to drop their like to the degree like favorite temperature for weather.
I think mine's like a 74.
I gotta know. 74 is good. I would say anywhere in that 70s bracket, except for once you break 78, I'm kind of over it.
Yeah.
But I will say 73, 72.
In theory, with the way Nebraska weather works typically, we're gonna breach into hell's front porch in the next couple weeks.
We're going to the zoo soon, and I'm praying. We're going like in the morning-ish.
Yeah.
So I'm praying for like nice morning weather, and then like maybe if it's hot, we've already kind of we're getting ready to leave by then. All right, it's me again. My third vibe is a two-parter because it's two people. It's two artists specifically. One of them is at Rinny Leap, and I'll be sure to get that on the screen here. And then the other one is at Nat Anderson. They are both just two artists whose art has like come across my feed so frequently, or more so as of late. And I save a bunch of their posts on Instagram. I actually use Rinny Leap a lot for studying and like for practicing in my own like sketching practice, and I have just like thoroughly enjoyed what they're contributing to the internet right now. And Nat Anderson is an amazing like it's called Rizographs or like Rizzo painting. Essentially what her artwork turns into is she prints it on this very sought after Japanese printer that is like famous for how it like prints things. But I'm gonna have to probably insert a tiny text block to be a little more eloquent about it. But essentially the way this printer prints, it prints in the very, very like tiny dots, kind of like not impressionism, like pointillism. But you can layer the inks to create different halftone colors, and you step away with this just really cool kind of like jumping off the page like piece of artwork. And her style is just so interesting. And if it sounds like I'm talking gobbledygook, I will make sure that I just get a bunch of her like paintings up here and like illustrations because they're so cool. I am lucky enough to own one of her pieces. Friend bought one for Christmas for me. But yeah, if you want some cool new art to check out, please go check out either Rinny Leap or Nat Anderson. And maybe I can even flash a picture of that fancy Japanese printer that I know not enough about to talk about in any authority way.
That's great. What was that? My last one, you've already hinted at. It's that we've got fun plans.
Oh,
happening soon. One of which is tomorrow. The Lincoln Marathon is happening, and it runs right past Sam and I's home. And I've lived in this home for quite a while. And when we first moved in, and by we I mean me and roommates, it was a long time ago. They send you a flyer to let you know that like, hi, your house is on the route. People. And we looked at that and said, not my problem, and went to sleep and attempted to sleep through the marathon because the first runner runs past at like 7:30 and then the last runner doesn't run past until like 10:30 somewhere in there. And so we said, well, we're 23. I will not be up. So best of luck to all of you. I am sleeping. Good night. But the thing is, the marathon is taken somewhat seriously in Lincoln, and it shuts down like a good chunk of the city, and people follow their family members and like have little parties and stuff. So I remember that first year we were like, gonna sleep through that. That doesn't pertain to me. Good night. We woke up at 7:30 to a woman with a cowbell just going off.
Because you can assume from her first vibe or second vibe that the windows were down.
Yeah, sure. Even if the windows weren't, you would have, it's an alarm. You would have woken up. And so after that, we just kind of started to embrace it and say like, well, it's Marathon Sunday. Better get up.
We're up.
And then we started inviting people over to like hang out on Marathon Sunday. Sam makes breakfast and we have friends over and we have a good time.
Yeah.
So that's this Sunday. That's literally tomorrow. And then later this month, as you mentioned, we're going to the zoo, the Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo. If you're not in Nebraska, it's like voted the best zoo in the nation. It's so good. It's great. And Sam and I really enjoy going. And the first year that we tried to go by ourselves, it did just rain. And we had to run back to our cars. And we were soaked and it was uncomfortable and we had to drive an hour back home. And then man. I think it was like 2 years after that, we said we should go back to the zoo. And then we took Soren and TJ with us. And that was great and good and so fun.
It was.
And then this year, we're just inviting more of our friends and we're all going to go and have a really great time.
I made friends with a sea lion last time. That was nice.
And then in June, we're going to see my brother and me. So it's just like a great event after
this will be a tiny bit of an archive. So like when you do hear this episode, we'll be sure to probably already tell you how those things went.
Yeah.
But that's what she's vibing with right now. We're going to do them.
So
we're excited. So my final vibe, which like they were in no particular order, but my final vibe is that I started a new Stardew Valley save file with some coworkers.
Nice.
I had a friend come up to me at work and he was like, "You play Stardew, right? You nerd?" And I was like, "I sure do." And he asked me to join a random work co-op farm, and it's been so fun and silly, and it's just really fun to share the game with people who aren't myself. I love teaching people games that I enjoy or teaching people anything really. So it's been very fun to like help where I can be helpful with certain parts of the game or be like, "Ooh, yeah, Mike, I am so sorry. You can't do that part yet." Like all of those little things that are just, it's fun to bring people into the fold. That is a fun video game you enjoy. So that's been really fun. And it's really endearing to see like how excited they get. So Michael, Hwai, and or Skylar, I just name dropped you, but shout out to you guys. If you hear this, it's been a delight to play with you. So thanks for inviting me.
Let's roll with it.
Yeah, let's roll.
We're on the Would You Rather D&D.
Ooh, on a Vibes and Thrives video even.
Wow. What are the odds?
She's getting tired, ladies and gentlemen. What was the roll?
2.
We got a 2.
Would you rather be a reverse centaur?
Oh, man.
Or a reverse mermaid? I hate both of these. Hey, TJ, I hate both of these. These are bad.
Hold on.
Why'd you do this? Don't draw it. Are you drawing it?
I'm doing it so fast. You answer.
I don't know. I don't like any of these.
You have to answer.
I guess a reverse centaur.
For real? Why?
Because a fish head and people legs is bad.
That's what I was just thinking of. I like literally had to be like, okay, so what is a reverse centaur? Horse head, people.
It's BoJack Horseman.
He's an actual horse.
Well.
But it is. Like, I see what you're saying. Reverse mermaid. Now I'm thinking, would you be the kind of like reverse mermaid where your head is like still normal, or do you have to be like this? You know what I mean? She doesn't want to think about it. I'll entertain this. Hold on.
I was picturing the like eye on either side of the head, but like they don't really have a neck, so it's just like
exactly.
It sucks.
It's
this sucks. This is bad.
She hates this. This is a monstrosity.
Ew.
Oh, she doesn't like it. It is not good, first of all. But like it is what it is. Oh,
Wasn't
that's
there
so
a
creepy.
monster in Delicious in Dungeon that is a fish guy?
Gosh, is there? Yes, but it's not like a reverse mermaid. It's just like please zoom in on that. Just for contention's sake, I'm gonna pick the reverse mermaid because that's weird. I think so, but I think the mermaid in Delicious in Dungeon I think it's called a fish man, and so they just literally look like a fish man, kind of like Gil from Kim Possible. Oh, she's so uncomfy. Shall we move on to thrives?
Yeah, let's thrive.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I only have 2. So.
Okay, I made myself put 3 down. So my first thrive is mental health walks. I've been making just a better conscious effort to when I'm feeling a little more dysregulated than I would like to, or like overwhelmed by work or like stuff for the podcast or whatever, like I'm making a point to be like, I just need to get up, go outside, walk for like 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes, come back, and it's been exponentially helpful. So that has absolutely been a thrive for me. And the weather is very much supporting it right now.
Windows down.
Windows down.
My first thrive is that I picked out and planted flowers.
Yeah, you did. What were the ones called that you were showing me that close up at night?
Zinnia or Ganzania or
Tanzania, something like that. Yeah. Tanzania flowers. Yeah, they were very pretty either way.
They close up at night. They go sleep.
There are I don't know if there's like a word for that, but I know there are lots of flowers that do that. I just think that's so cool.
I am not outdoorsy.
She'll be the first to say
it. But before the marathon Sunday, I always feel an enormous pressure to upgrade my outdoor living space.
Which is all self-imposed, mind you.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I went and picked out some flowers and planted them. I am not an outdoorsy person to the point where it's been raining significantly. I feel like the last couple days. Yeah. And now I'm afraid my flowers have been overwatered.
Sure.
And I don't know what to do about that. So I looked at them today and went,
You kind of just have to let the sun do the thing.
And then I went, well,
that's that.
And got in my car and came here. So
Katie says she's not an outdoorsy person, which is fair and true to an extent. However, Katie loves a good hang outside in my kiddie pool kind of day.
Yeah.
She's a sunbather. She's a I'll take a nap by the bonfire with you kind of person.
Yeah.
But she's not a please don't shove me in the middle of a forest. I will sit down and cry.
I don't want to hike anywhere. And I like being outside. I like being outside, but I don't like tending a garden.
Which is hilarious, considering.
Yeah, well I mean, this is a fantasy thing here.
We tend a garden of the mind.
I don't have a green thumb by any sense of the word.
Sure.
And my idea of a good time is not hiking.
And that's fair.
That's about it, though. I mean,
but she's not opposed to being in the outdoors. There's just...
Oh, yeah. So I don't camp.
Yes.
I don't camp. I would glamp.
Hey, that sounds fun.
You put me in a place with plumbing, we're fine. But I don't want to dig a hole to,
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And I want to sleep on a bed, not on the ground.
Sure.
So, I'll take a nap with a nice breeze, or I'll sit in a pool, or I will even sit on a lawn chair outside. I'll go on a walk.
Yeah.
But I don't want to hike or
she doesn't want
camp
to heavily
or
interface
fish
with nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm allergic to most of it. So you tell me to touch grass and I break out in hives.
She says, ow.
There was one time that I was like, ooh, mental health. I'm going to go do yoga in my backyard. And then I had to stop. So I had to call Sam to ask him to bring hydrocortisone home because my back was absolutely covered in hives because I'm allergic to grass. So outdoorsy people, good for you, but there are some of us who simply can't. You want me to climb a tree? No. I'm gonna die. Okay. So that was my first thrive, was picking and planting flowers.
There it is. Okay. Yeah. I was like, because it certainly was not dying from the outdoors.
Yeah. No, I picked and planted flowers.
My next one is about art growth. Recently, probably in the last month, I have just felt like a new stair step of progression in my own art skill. And so it's just been really fun to like continue the art practice. That sounds really lame saying it that way, but I'm visibly seeing the growth in my skill. And that's really satisfying and cool to know that like my work is paying off. It's not always like I can't always see that progress. And right now I'm in the middle of finishing a big like graphic design project, so I can't really draw as much, but I'm still seeing these little tiny improvements, and that's been nice. So I'm looking forward to giving a little more time to that when I'm done with this big project, but that's been a very nice little like cherry on top of this season right now.
My last one is all encompassing of a lot of things, but it's just like end of year stuff. So all of pretty much most of my life, I've functioned off the academic calendar. So May is the end of the year for me. So like end of year means like recital, end of like my recital choreography stuff. I submitted grades for Wesleyan and the class I've been teaching there, and all of that. It's almost summertime, Pinewood's starting to kick up, like all of those things kind of encompass this like end of year vibe. And it's exciting. It's a fun time of year. We're getting ready for end of year like in studio rehearsals for recital, and that's like actually the best week of the entire year, just watching all of those things come together and people start getting excited about that. So it's May is fun and busy, but fun.
But busy.
But also busy, but fun.
My final thrive is that recently I've been just practicing better delegation, and it's a learning process, but I personally, I'm sure this is gonna come as just a huge shock to everyone, but I have a lot of perfectionist tendencies, and sometimes that just really gets in the way of me asking for help and me like giving up like certain tasks or things that are expected of me, because I get very overwhelmed and I overthink a lot about how I'm gonna have to come back to said thing, like once I've given it up to somebody else, which I'm not saying is right or wrong, is just something that I personally struggle with. But recently, and I was actually talking with Caitie and TJ about this probably a few weeks ago now, where Caitie said a phrase that I just like know is true, but I like haven't heard it out loud in a while. So she's like, what did I say? She said, when you get to that point where you're overwhelmed, you feel like you can't ask for help or delegate things, at some point you have to be comfortable with things not being perfect, and you have to like let it go and just ask for the help or delegate the task or whatever, because that's the whole goal, is to try to get better at delegating. And if somebody's offering help or trying to be supportive, that can't really happen if you're constantly trying to hold everything on your shoulders. So yeah. I think you'll have to tell me if this is what it was or not. Was this when we were like, there's too much going on, and like you had said, like I can't focus on podcast stuff? Is that one? No, it wasn't. It was actually, I think, like a week or so before that. But that was actually doing that. Yeah, earlier this week, I like messaged TJ and Caitie. I was like, "Hi, we have stuff coming up for the podcast. I'm also in the middle of like busy work life. We all are. And then just some other expectations that I have either put on myself or put on me. And I like simply can't do podcast things. Can someone help? And Caitie like jumped in, TJ jumped in, and they assisted. But that was like a very large step for me. And so like that was like part of the thrive was like, you did it.
Yeah.
You said help.
And I remember at that point, I also was like, oh shit, I also have so much going on this week. And I think one of my responses to you, which kind of fit into apparently what I said a couple weeks ago, which was like, I don't even know if I'm going to have time to get to some of this week. Yeah. So the content we put out this week might just be like lesser than what we normally put out. And that's okay because we both have other things going on. And that's just how this goes sometimes. But that was a similar vibe to what you said. I said.
Yeah,
a few weeks
that
ago.
was very comforting to hear, though. Like, she had messaged and been like, yep, so it's just going to be what it is, but I'll tag team in where I can. And I think I actually said to you, thank you for saying those words, because I was just feeling extra stressed about it. Like, we always want to put out good content. We always want, like, people to enjoy what we do, but at the end of the day, it's not our full-time jobs, and we're doing this, quote-unquote, for fun. And I don't know if any of you know if you've had the pleasure of either making a podcast or a YouTube channel or whatever. It just takes a lot of work.
It does. And I like this was one of those times because I mean, I just talked about all the end of year stuff that's going on. So like recital season is in full swing, Pinewood is kicking up and like all of that. And so, and the recital stuff you're not a part of, but the Pinewood stuff you are. So there's like other things that we both are involved in that are like, hi, it's my turn now.
Yeah, we work with each other in multiple capacities in life.
So being able to like highlight that is a thing that amongst the podcast we also do, and sometimes that other stuff just has to take the front seat, which means that podcast stuff has to take the back seat. And this time around, we've tried to plan for that and record really in advance. I mean, we talked about how this will be several months from when we're recording it that it's released. Like
that is a direct strategy.
Yeah, that's on purpose so that when Pinewood kicks up and you and I are both up to our ears in community theater admin tasks, we can still release episodes. But like we've talked about in our admin meetings for the podcast that like there's a chance that our social content over the next couple of months, because we can't batch that as ahead of time as we batch recording episodes.
Just with our process,
So, like, that might end up taking a hit because of that. And it's just, like, a reality of how content creation goes. So, the content that you listen to or watch from anybody who is a content creator, just, like, every once in a while, remind yourself that there's probably a full-time job's worth of work that you don't even see that goes into creating that content. And the content creators who can put out content frequently probably have a team of people that they pay to help them do that.
Or they're incredibly burnt out.
Right.
And I wish that on no person who does creative work. Because that takes the joy out of it. That takes the fun out of it. But we still want to be able to get stuff to you all. So last year we had like a big drop and we had a big pause because we got busy because this is the time of year it is. And so one of our big goals for this year was to not have that big pause in the summer. And I think we're on track right now.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. As long as we can keep up with like the episode release posts. This is turning into an admin meeting. As long as it doesn't my thought is the baseline is that the episode goes out and we tell people that the episode is out. And everything else is extra, you know? Like if we do reflections and if we do stories and all of this kind of stuff, that's great and good. But as long as an episode goes out and we tell people the episode is out.
And we say, hey, it's there.
That's it, man.
That's it, man.
That's it.
But all to say that the thrive is that if I can keep practicing getting good at getting better at delegating, then that will be a thrive, and it has been so far. So
it's a really helpful skill.
All in all, it is. If anyone needs to hear that, please delegate something that you don't have the time for.
as
nice.
the partner in this partnership that is the one that is like project managing. Hey, hi, I'm talking directly to you, the listener. Hello. The person who is managing your project can't know that you need help unless you ask for it. So you have to be able to say, hey, this isn't going how I want it to go and I need assistance, because their whole job is to provide that assistance, but they can't provide that assistance by guessing. That's my PSA.
She is telling you, but she's also telling me, like she has many times before.
It's every project I've ever been on that I've been in this capacity where I have to connect dots, like for other people. I'm like, I can probably guess when you're struggling.
Yeah.
But also there runs this terrible, terrible fear of mine, because I'm also people pleaser tendencies, that I'm going to go, this is not true. I've never actually done this, but I could have, say like, hey, Soren, it seems like perhaps we're struggling. And that feels like mean to say, you know?
Yeah,
so like, I need you to say, hey, I'm not doing good.
Hi, I see you're struggling. Could you say it though, so that I can help you?
It's like the like Buffy, when Spike comes in, he's like, I actually need you to invite me, you know, like that thing. It's like, hi,
Vampire can't come in if it's not welcome.
I'm your helpful vampire that wants to help you.
Please let me in.
But you have to invite me in. Thanks. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
That's it for us this week.
I'm gonna wrap it up.
Thanks for spending time with us today. Clearly, we were in need of a short rest, and thanks for giving it to us. Thanks for Noah Trumbull for the use of our theme song. There's a link to his Instagram, to his description in the Instagram, to his Instagram in the description. Be sure to give him a follow and stay up to date on his band and music.
If you're enjoying the show, there are a couple of things we would love for you to do. One of the first ones is leave us a review, because reviews help people know that we're worth their time. Reviews help people know that we are you can do it, reputable, this one's my favorite, reputable
Does anyone do this?
podcast, and that people should spend time listening to us and hang out with us in the garden. Second, follow us wherever you get your podcasts, whatever podcatcher you're on. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the podcast platforms I'm forgetting right now, so that you can get to new episodes easier. Lastly, but not leastly, go ahead, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. That's where we're most active and where you can probably catch a conversation with us. Please feel free to comment on the post about this episode, or just come hang out in the comments of this YouTube video. Also, I'm just going to do the standard YouTube plug. Please, if this video had any value or just made you feel cozy and good, please hit that like button. We'd appreciate it a ton. And consider subscribing if you enjoyed hanging out with us.
We also want to hear from you. Did something about our vibes or thrives make you think hard? Or do you have something you'd like us to talk about? You're like, hi, you've done this short rest and now I'd like you to give me this content. We hear your wishes, but only if you email us. So that's chromaroses@gmail.com, CHROMAROSASSES@gmail.com. It's all lowercase, and we can't wait to hear from you.
Katie's gonna take a nap after.
I can't. I literally can't. I don't have time to take a nap.
But
I don't get you.
This has been Chromatic Roses. I'm Soren.
And I'm Caitie. Be nice or else.
Okay, love you. Bye.